Audio Jungle.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, I'm Nadira. So today, I'm going to invite my friends. The first one is Atika, and the second one is Hazani. So three of us will be explaining to you regarding the data acquisition. So shall we start with Atika first?
We start with our lesson about data acquisition. Okay, what is data acquisition? Data acquisition is the process of making forensic image from digital electronic media such as hard drive, thumb drive, CD-ROM, or external hard drive that can be obtained evidence data from it. And we can such like game console is also an electronic device that can be obtain data from it. What is subtopic in data acquisition? Data acquisition will recover 9 subtopic of data acquisition. One is never work on original evidence. Second is order of volatility. Third is memory a running process. 4 is capturing memory. 5 is memory capture utility. 6 memory capture date. 7 is memory capture procedure. X is media capture. For the last is this image format. From me, I will cover 3 topic. Text is never work on original evidence, order of volatility, and third is memory and running process. We start on subtopic never work on original evidence. The forensic examiner is able to articulate and verify that captured evidence is exactly same as the actual evidence. Forensic image is verified against the original to ensure the forensic image is exactly duplicate from the actual data evidence. Next subtopic that is order of volatility. What is order of volatility? Order of volatility is defined as sequence of order digital evidence is collected. As a forensic examiner must follow the procedure that has been made by the organization that's called IETF. IETF is the Internet Engineering Task Force that has been made for support and promote monitoring internet standard. So IATF has been made the procedure for forensic examiner collecting the evidence. The organization has been released a document that we call as RFC 3220. Document explains that collection of evidence must start from the most volatile item to the least volatile item. According to IATF, the order of volatility of item is follow. First, they must get the register cache. Second, there's routing table, ARP cache, process table, kernel plastic, and memory. For the third evidence, temporary file system, and fourth is a disk. 5 is remote logging and data monitoring. 6 is physical configuration and network topology. And the last evidence that less volatile and be acquired, that is achievable data. That is achievable media. What's a register cache? Register cache is most volatile item that can lose easily when we plug down or we shut down the system, because that item is easily loose, and the forensic examiner must acquire the item than any data because it can easily lose. And second, we talk about routing table, ARP cache, process table, and kernel static. That item is located in network. So when the item located in network, the item is easily lost. The examiner must acquire the data quickly before they lose the data. about the temporary file system. Temporary file system, they have potential to become the important legal procedure for evidence. But in terms of volatile, is the item is not hard to get because it can be permanent in system. 4 is about this. We think that data in this it cannot be used, but in the real situation, this data in this can be lost. In act of operation, we must take the data from the disk so that it can be evidenced to the court. Can be evidenced to. Item that is less volatile, such like remote logging, data monitoring, network topology, and archival media is data that less volatile, and it can be data cannot be lost, and because it can stay on the system. We move to third subtopic, that is memory and running process. Memory is the list of running process that happen in the system, so that forensic examiner must accrue the data from that memory, and memory such like RAM, that's a random access memory, can be easily lost. So the forensic examiner must be quickly to get the data, because when the system has been plugged down or be shut down or maybe blackout, the memory in the RAM can be lost easily and the data cannot be obtained. More about the memory in running process, you go to see the video. Next video.
Hi, I'm Rich Frawley, and I'm the Digital Forensic Specialist with ADF Solutions. Today we are going to collect RAM while running Digital Evidence Investigator on a live computer. It is possible to collect RAM without conducting a scan of the target machine. At this point, you will have to decide on a search profile or profiles to use to prepare your collection key. If you are using Digital Evidence Investigator to only collect RAM, a search profile is still required to prepare the collection key. RAM collection is not a process of the search profile and runs independently of any search profile selected. In making your search profile selection, keep in mind the objective of your interaction with the digital evidence in case your process changes. So you'll want to select the search profile, select your collection key to prepare, and then select Prepare. You will get warnings that your collection keys are not empty and the data will be deleted if you proceed, or if it needs to be backed up, please make sure you have backed up your data and then click Proceed. Windows may open and close if you have autoplay set. Just ignore those windows. Once that key is prepared, you can see that it automatically ejects the key for you, so you can eject your collection key and get ready to go on scene. Once on scene, as you can see here, I have a 4-port hub, collection key, authentication key, and the target computer, which is up and running. Let's start by inserting the collection key and creating a RAM dump. As you can see on this computer, autoplay is set to open the folder automatically. If this is not set, you will need to open File Explorer, and the collection key device is shown here. Now we execute the start.bat file, store it on the collection key by double-clicking on it. From the main menu, we will click on Create RAM Dump. Once that's complete, we can click on the Home key to return to the main menu. Digital Evidence Investigator accesses files on the target computer without modifying their timestamps when a scan is completed. However, it should be expected that running Digital Evidence Investigator on a live system will leave traces related to the insertion of both the collection key and the authentication key, and the execution of the Digital Evidence Investigator application. 2 USB ports are required to complete a scan, one for the collection key and one for the authentication key. Once the scan has started, the authentication key can be removed. A USB hub may be used in cases where the target computer has only one USB port. When running live from a collection key, we will create a RAM dump first. RAM dumps can then be analyzed with the appropriate software, such as Volatility. Once that RAM dump is complete, we return to the main menu. You now have the option to conduct a live scan or image the computer or any attached devices. Your authentication key will be required to conduct that live scan.
Next, we go to the next topic. That's my friend will be explained.
Hi, I'm Hazwani. I'll be explaining about capturing memory. Digital forensic experts understand the importance of remembering to perform a memory capture on scene so as to not leave valuable evidence behind. Capturing volatile data in a computer's memory dump enable investigators and examiners to do a full memory analysis and access data including browsing history, encryption keys, chat message, clipboard contents, runtime system activity, open network connections, recently execute commands and processor, injected code fragments, memory stored before shutdown and crash. Collecting data memory image from the live memory is not an easy task, as the name suggests that the data we are acquiring is from the live memory, so we need to be very careful as a little deallocation can trigger feed defragmentation. There are various tools and techniques for Windows used to acquire the volatile memory in order to extract malicious programs in it. The tools are easy to use and can yield interesting results.
For the second section, which is the memory capture utilities, there are few best free tools that can help you conduct a digital forensic investigation, whether it's for an internal human resources case, an investigation into unauthorized access to a server, or if you just want to learn a new skill. These utilities will help you conduct memory forensic analysis, hard drive forensic analysis, forensic image exploration, forensic imaging, and mobile forensic. As such, they all provide the ability to bring back in-depth information about what's under the hood of a system. Next, in this video, we show you how to capture memory using dump it tools.
Subtopics about memory capture tips. Firstly, keep your memory footprints to a minimum. Second, run from a flash drive if possible. Third, copy memory image to an external device. Last one, make sure device capturing image can handle large file. By the end of my section, please enjoy the video that we have prepared for you to understand more in memory capturing.
When you discover that your enterprise has been breached or has been a victim of cybercrime, your initial thoughts go to solving the immediate problem. But for true cyber professionals, that's only the beginning. It is important for cybersecurity professionals to undergo a thorough process of identifying, preserving, analyzing, and presenting digital evidence. This process is known as digital forensics. Since the 1970s, the field of digital forensics has evolved to keep up with the widespread adoption of technology and the means in which these technologies are used for criminal activity. The use of computers for financial crimes in the 1980s helped shape digital forensic methods into what they are today. With the advent of modern computing, a new landscape for criminal activity has emerged. The need to gather new forms of evidence turned digital forensics into a vital tool used by law enforcement in the pursuit and conviction of crimes, both computer-based, such as human exploitation, cyberstalking, and cyber terrorism, but also computer-facilitated, such as illegal data breaches that result in the theft of information. To support this new discipline, specialized tools have also emerged to assist investigators in the capture, analysis, and preservation of evidence that might arise during the course of investigating that criminal activity. Any part of an enterprise system can be vulnerable to criminal activity, data theft, or unauthorized penetration. Forensic analysts must make sure to analyze storage media, hardware and operating systems, networks, and applications to locate the point of compromise. The mission criticality of the compromised application, system, or network determines the level of investigation. When conducting a forensic investigation, it is important to follow the digital forensic scientific process. This 8-step process covers the entire evidence gathering procedure, from data collection to examination and analysis to reporting. In the data collection phase, investigators obtain search authority, document the chain of custody, and hash and duplicate all evidence. In the examination and analysis phase, investigators validate their tools, perform analysis, and reproduce those methods and outcomes for assurance. The reporting phase is when conclusions are made and expert evidence or testimony is presented. Since investigators may be required to present evidence as part of expert testimony, using this scientific process increases the likelihood that any evidence found will be fully admissible in a court of law. Another important consideration for organizations, should they be the victim of a breach, is the possible mishandling of evidence by untrained staff. To mitigate this risk, an organization's evidence preservation considerations could involve bringing in either law enforcement or an external forensic specialist, should legal remedies such as criminal prosecution of the perpetrator be considered. Computer systems, networks, and mobile devices can all be utilized in or fall victim to a cyber attack. Each device type has different intrusion methods and requirements for evidence handling. This has led to the formation of 3 distinct branches of digital forensics. Computer forensics may rely on the need to create a disk image to preserve evidence, or virtual drives may be used to emulate an entire machine. Network forensics focuses on the monitoring and analyzing of computer network traffic. Mobile devices present their own unique challenges, due in part to memory volatility, as low-power DRAM used in smartphones can lose data when powered off. Thus, proper handling procedures and adherence to the documented chain of custody must be followed to protect and preserve such evidence. Regardless of where an attack occurs, the enterprise cybersecurity program should have policies that address all forensics considerations, such as contacting law enforcement, monitoring, and conducting regular reviews of forensic policies, guidelines, and procedures. This should take into account the need to preserve and maintain evidence, as well as other requirements such as accreditation. For example, in situations where cardholder data is involved, as well as the decision to involve outside specialists. When you discover that your enterprise has been breached, digital forensics can ensure that best practices are observed throughout the evidence gathering process. Without digital forensics, evidence can go unnoticed or become compromised, and systems may remain vulnerable to additional attacks. As cyber criminals get more sophisticated and data breaches become more damaging to enterprises, digital forensics and the digital forensic scientific process will continue to provide a means to bring cyber criminals to justice in our increasingly complex and fast-moving technological landscape. For more information on digital forensics and for opportunities to build your cyber skill set through CSX training, Go to isaka.org/digitalforensics.
Here is 5 procedures that need to be done to do memory capturing. The first one, we start with the documentation process. What is documentation process?
What is documentation? Documentation is a continuous process throughout the investigation process.
Documenting is a crucial part of the evidence collection process. It identifies the location of the piece of evidence within the scene, the collection method, as well as establishing the chain of custody.
Here are the crucial steps. 1. Photograph the evidence item or sample location before it is disturbed. Take both a wide angle and a close-up of the evidence item or location. As needed, take extreme close-ups of important areas on the item. If the item is buried in debris, photograph each debris layer as it is excavated. 2. Take a close-up photograph of the item with and without an evidence roller. 3. When removing the item, photograph any other sides that cannot be seen when the item was in place. 4. Photograph the area underneath the item once the item is removed. 5. Note the sample on the evidence log, including a description of the item and the item number. 6. Properly package and label the item. Include the location, date, case number, evidence number, and initials of who collected the item. Store the sample in a secure location for transport. Maintain the chain of custody during transport to the evidence room or laboratory.
Documentation is divided into 2. The first one is physical crime scene and the second one is digital crime scene. Okay, the physical crime scene is about not taking photograph, sketches, or video of the crime scene, while digital crime scene is properly documenting the digital evidence when it is found. The exact copy of the system, each piece of digital evidence that is found during the analysis of the image must be clearly documented. A record of all visible data must be created, which helps in recreating the scene and reviewing it at time. These documentation are important when the forensic specialist has to give testimony in a court, which could be several months after the investigation.
The second procedure of memory capture is run a batch file. Okay, what is batch file? Batch file is a file that contains user information, network connection, date or time, and also open file.
Usually, file name extension for batch file is .bat, .cmd, and .btm.
The third procedure of memory capture is collect a memory dump. Okay, what is memory dump? Memory dump is a memory that provides information of the last state regarding programs, application, and system. This information are provided before they are terminated or crash. After memory dump, the computer is generally unavailable or inaccessible until it is rebooted. Next, the procedure of memory capture is copy a paging file. Okay, paging file usually will be known as a swap file. The user is unable to see the paging file unless we tell the Windows Explorer not to hide protected operating system file. The last procedure of memory capture is copy any hibernation file. What is hibernation file? Hibernation file is a file that contains snapshot of the system memory. Hibernation files are including web, email, and chat response. Hibernation file is a file format whose the information or detail will be made available through reverse engineering. Okay, next I will explain to you about media capture. Of course, the first step is document everything. The second one is what I really want to focus is using a write blocker. Okay, what is write blocker? Write blocker is a tool that permits read-only access to data storage
without compromising the integrity of the data. If the writer blocker is used properly, it can guarantee the protection of the data chain of custody. There are several requirements that need to be followed by forensic investigator while using write blocker.
A write blocker, when used properly, can guarantee the protection of data chain of custody. NIST's general write blocking requirement hold that 1. The tool shall not allow a protected drive to be changed. 2. The tool shall not prevent obtaining any information from or about any drive. 3. The tool shall not prevent any operation to a drive that is not protected.
Okay, next, the third process of media capture is do not use standard copy utility to make copy. Okay, Linux DD, SafePack and Snappack are three software that is considered the best product to do fast and completely accurate copying process of HDD. Okay, the last step of media capture is store all image on forensically sound media. Okay, this is mean that this image must be a bit for bit copy of the original. It must be exactly of the original.
Today I'm going to be showing you how to use a Tableau forensic SATA and IDE bridge to a SATA hard drive into a computer, so you can use something like FTK Imager Lite to make a forensic EO1 image of that hard drive. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take everything out of your bag. You got your power cable, you have your USB 3.0 cable, you have your SATA power, and your SATA data connector for your hard drive. So we're going to go ahead and power our Tableau. Putting our power here. You can see we already got, it shows DC power on. Once we get that, we can go ahead and connect our SATA power and then our SATA data cable. And then you're going to want to connect those obviously to your device. And then you're going to connect your USB cable. Once you have all those plugged in, then you can go ahead and take that USB 3.0 cable and plug it right into your computer, which I have a little dock in here. And then once you have all that plugged in, you can go ahead and hit our power button on, and then you can see it begins to boot up, and you can begin to hear the hard drive spin up on power as well. And you can see our write block is on. That is very important to see that, because that means anything at all the computer can never write to that hard drive. So once you see the power light is on, SATA detected, because we're not using an IDE. This is actually compatible with an IDE cable. So if you need an older hard drive, it does have the Molex power cord and an IDE cable. Hopefully you don't have to image those. Those do take a long time than your typical SATA hard drive. Even those take a long time as well. But IDE is even longer. So once you get all that connected, you got all green lights, then we're going to go to our computer here, and then we can see the device show up in write block mode.
Usually, in the data acquisition, there are several formats that will be used, but I'll focus on three. The first one is DD image. This DD image is a file that is created using DD command. The file of DD image only can be viewed if the investigator have the access to view the file. The second format is EWP file. EWP file contains the content and structure of the entire data storage. Okay, last but not least, AFF, which is stand for Advanced Forensic Format, is a disk file format. AFF is extensible open format for storage of this image. and it is related to forensic investigation. Extensible here means any metadata that can be encoded file. Meanwhile, open format here means it is free from patent and license restriction. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Okay, that's all for us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.